Let's just double check.
Yeah, refreshing.
I'm on Twitch.
There we go.
You can do it. Now streaming. All
And
right.
while we're still a pre-show, I'll put this out here too.
Mm-hmm.
I am not Democrat at all. I'm not Republican either. I believe both parties have really good points. I believe in smaller government. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in also being able to help your neighbor with the taxes that we create.
Right.
I believe there should be stronger gun control rules. Being a gun owner,
Right.
so it's like both sides suck shit. And
Yeah.
that's what we get for having a two-party system right now.
Right.
And we need to fucking work on that as a country.
Right. Yeah.
But we are definitely at the point of voting for the lesser of two evils pretty much at this point.
Right. Right. Okay. Are you ready to get started?
Yes.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to a brand new episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is the Nymph.
Hello.
Moon is out this week. Hopefully he's doing okay, and we will talk to him next week. Let's do a quick plug here for our Patreon page at either patreon.com/e1m1 or e1m1.cash.
The ones are numbers.
Just real quick plug here. You get exclusive access to the Outcast, the uncensored, stuff that's going on in our lives. Talk about a lot of wild stuff this week. You get early access to We Work Like It and Critical Misses. A $5 tier or higher, you get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting, the kind of behind the scenes, fly on the wall recording and how we plan that show. And then you get exclusive access to The Wayward Sons, the Supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and Imp are going through, all of that and more. Patreon.com/e1m1 or e1m1.cash.
The ones are numbers.
All right, Nymph, you're in the hot seat this week. What
Woo-hoo.
have you been playing?
Boston, I would be remiss if I did not bring up. Did you miss anything for Game Club or
No,
any other announcements?
I got Game Club last week.
Okay.
We're playing a new game for We Rogue Like It. We're starting Ratcoin, which is a wild coin sliding arcade machine roguelike, which has been pretty fun. So check that out.
I just know if I don't bring it up, we'll
I
have
appreciate
to listen
it.
to you and talk about it next week.
That's right. I appreciate you covering me.
All right. So, first game I'm going to start with, we'll just do X4 Foundations.
Yeah.
Go in reverse order this week.
Oh.
Again, this is every time I play this game, I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
And this game is challenging me in so many different ways. I am, as of today, 207 hours into this game.
Okay.
I have discovered that there are, I guess, like story missions in this game that you don't have to do at all. A lot of these seem to be like, hey, do these story-related missions for this faction, and this gets you, I guess, like a better relationship with that faction, which you can grow by yourself, no problem. I've already got like a couple of them that are 30, which is the highest, just from trading with them all the time.
Oh, okay.
But it can also give you access to like free ships.
Oh.
With the Terran one that I just completed, completing the story mission has given me access to Sol. So now I can go to the Earth sector. You can't actually go to Earth. You just see Earth in the background. This isn't a game where you land on the planets. It's just the planets are in the background and you're flying around.
Right.
And it has given me a ship called the Syn, S-Y-N.
Okay.
And it is a large battleship.
Oh,
and it is
okay.
really awesome. Currently, that's what I'm flying around in right now. It is super slow, but that's also why I have a pilot for it, where I just tell them, hey, you go here, and I'm going to stare at this map and make sure the rest of the Empire is doing fine. And then you tell me when we get there. It's kind of nice. But so I have that ship, and doing a couple other story-related missions, I have now unlocked this new... this new system for diplomacy where we are doing like some cloak and dagger stuff.
Ooh,
where I can now find people who fit into this new, because normally when you find random people at a dock or anything, they're either they can either be a pilot or they can be a marine, and they
Okay.
fit two different functions. Either one, the pilot or the marine, can captain any ship. You can just tell them, hey, you're the captain of the ship, now go fly it, do whatever.
Okay.
Um, but now that I've gotten this mission up to a point where I can start recruiting agents,
Oh.
and agents need their own ship. They have their own skill level for espionage. It's not
Ooh.
an actual level, but it's like right now the one that I have is untrained because it's like the first one that I've ever grabbed.
Oh, okay.
Um, so because this was my first one, I was provided a ship for this agent, and now I can send them on missions a la Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, where it's like, hey,
Aha.
go do this thing and then report back to me on the success. And you get like these whole things where it's like, hey, to be even able to do this mission, your agent should be like this particular espionage rank. Excuse me. They need this amount of money. They may or may not need an item, and then it will tell you if they will survive or not, or if
Oh,
there's any
okay.
consequences of failing anything like this.
Okay.
And the whole idea is it is basically a cloak and dagger thing where it's like if anything bad happens, it doesn't necessarily come back on you, but you may lose a ship and you may lose an agent.
Right.
It's like, all right, well, that kind of sucks, but whatever. So right now, I've been kind of feeling it out. I've found 2 agents so far that I've hired, and I have created a ship for this other agent. I just got to figure out when you build a ship, they automatically come with a captain.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't thinking when I built the ship because I was like, all right, max out the amount of people that will be servicing, the service crew of the ship plus the captain, which I think was like 16 people. I should have brought that down to 15 so I could have swapped the captain out and give this to the agent. I didn't. So now I have to figure out where I can put this other captain that I have so that way I'm not just firing somebody because it's a waste of a person that I paid for.
Right.
So I gotta play musical chairs with that crap. But once I get this agent into their new ship, I should be able to send them out to go basically improve my relationship with other factions that I'm neutral with right now.
Ah,
And that's
okay.
kind of what I'm using them for, is like just to give me like a little bit of bump for the ones that I don't really have time to fly all the way out to, or I don't have a station near them to trade with, because anytime you do a trade, you get a reputation boost, and
Mm.
it just keeps building from there. So it's like, all right, that's what I'm starting to do with this. And it gets into like some really heavy stuff. Like I was reading through the list on what some of the more harder challenges are. One of them, I can send an agent to just completely destabilize a sector and start a war.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I don't know why I'd want to do that yet,
Right.
but I
But they're
mean,
not
it's like,
pulling punches
okay.
on this. Like,
Yeah, no, it's like you could go all the way with this apparently.
huh.
So it's like, all right, that's pretty cool. Um, I have started what's called the timelines section of this game.
Okay.
It is not attached. What I have been playing is the open universe where it just throws you in and you just do whatever. It's the sandbox mode.
Mm-hmm.
That has some of the story stuff in it. The timeline is its own separate thing where you are a captain of a transport ship that's being blown up, and as it's being blown up, someone shows up and like stops time for a brief period.
Very cool.
And they're like, "Hey, do you want to stay here, or do you want to come work for us?" It's like,
Well,
well,
that's an easy
obviously we
choice.
go with you. Yeah, exactly. So we show up, and you are in a station, and you're not given a whole lot of information. It's basically like, hey, you are here. There are people way up above us that we don't know a whole lot about, but they dictate to us what our missions are, and we go complete these missions.
Okay.
And excuse me, the missions, I can't quite figure out if you're actually time traveling or bringing it back to Assassin's Creed, if you're kind of just getting hooked up to relive memories of people to train for something.
Oh, okay.
Because there's this cool thing where you walk up to this wall and this thing is up in the air and it swivels down, and it's this convex shaped light.
Okay.
And you put your back up against it, and it basically like tractor beams you to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then it lifts you up in the air, and you're just kind of like laying there in the air, and then it
Mm-hmm.
transmits you to a memory, it seems like.
Interesting.
And what is actually happening in game or out game is you're basically brought to a screen. It's like, hey, there's like these 3 missions to do, and then there's a 4th mission once you complete the 3. You have to do them in sequential order. So you do one, it unlocks the other one, you keep going.
Gotcha.
Doing this, though, it unlocks benefits for the rest of the actual game that you can play. And you get like these little pop-ups that say, hey, the universe has been changed.
Jeez.
Look for this. It's
Okay.
like, okay. So what that means is, so far from me, is that I have found 3 ships that I have unlocked that are unclaimed. And it tells you, hey, go check out this sector for your item. And I fly there, and yep, there's been 3 ships that I've picked up. One of them was an elite ship. It's just like a small one. It's like a starter gunship, but it had like an interesting paint job on it, and the engines were modified to be super fast. I was like, cool, that's a new scout ship.
Oh, yeah.
Another one was a Xenon Fighter F that I picked up and have added it to my salvage group. And the last one that I just picked up was a Xenon H, which I did not know was a thing that existed. This is a capital ship.
Oh.
This thing has turrets for days, and it has defense drones.
Oh, my.
It's like, okay, so now I have these 2 new items or ships to add to my fleet of things that are defending. I was like, okay, this is really cool. I'll have to pop back into timelines and keep playing it. From reading online, they're called, each section is called a graph. Okay. And inside those graphs, there seems to be 4 missions. There may be more per graph, but there's 6 graphs altogether.
Huh.
And to unlock the DLC benefits, you only have to get like 1 star in each of the missions. So it's not like you have to 5-star these things and, you know, get it. And from what I was reading online, some of these kind of suck. There's a handful of them that a lot of people were like, I am so glad I don't have to mess with this anymore. I don't ever want to look at this again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But they've all been really varied. Like the first mission that I did was you had to protect the station, and you were the only fighter there, and you were being scored on how many enemies you destroyed.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, as long as you meet the bare minimum for 1 star, it's a successful mission. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
The next one I got was it was a race where you were in a super fast ship and you were racing around this asteroid, and you have to hit these pylons for checkpoints as you're going around. And whatever placement you scored is dependent on where you rank it all. So I came in second, so I got 4 stars out of that one. Would have been first, but I didn't realize the drag of the ship when I had to make a super sharp turn and I ran into an asteroid. It sucked.
That happens to the best of us.
Yeah. The last mission that I did was you are protecting a cruiser that is going into an area to pull data from an unknown ship. And while you are in here, you can't see anything. Your radar still works, but you cannot use your travel mode, which means you can't go super fast.
Oh, okay.
And while it's there scanning and pulling down this data, you and your wingmen are protecting it from everything that's coming at it, and you have to escort it back out of this cloud, basically. And then that's the end of the mission. As long as it survives, you get a high rank, which I did. And that was the last mission that I did. So like they're varied. It's not just like, oh, show up and shoot a bunch of stuff and hooray, you won, keep going kind of thing. It's like so far they've all been pretty different. Back to my sandbox game though, I have built a lot of things in the section called the Void for stations that make all kinds of different stuff. For some reason, like the Void seems to be the hot spot that has almost everything that you can mine.
Okay.
Which allows me to create a bunch of stations to produce a bunch of items. It is constantly being attacked by pirates. It is constantly being attacked by the Xenon. This was the place that I had built a defense station on both sides of the gate, and have managed to hold off the Xenon. But now this has apparently aggravated the pirates, and they are constantly in the sector attacking. So now I have these patrol units that are going around this sector because the person who owns it can't patrol their own sector for some reason.
Right.
And I'm defending my own people while trying to build all this stuff up. And I have finally broken $100 million because I have been so busy doing missions and not like building anything. So I'm like, cool, I have all this money. Now I gotta start building stations again.
Right.
So it's an endless cycle, but still having a ton of fun with this game. And that's about everything that's going on with it. I have had a weird issue where I had my ship roll and it wouldn't stop rolling, so
Oh,
it just
no.
kept spinning. So then I would hit it to have it roll the other way, and it would just keep spinning the other way. It wouldn't stop. So then I save, quit, get back into it, and that stopped it.
Oh, okay.
So you get some weird bugs here and there every once in a while. But
Wild.
yeah, X4 faction or Foundations, not factions. Pretty good game still. 207 hours. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
So, my last game that I'm going to talk about is Dragon's Dogma. I looking at the guide, it looks like I'm about halfway through the main quest of the game. I have just been sent to... We attempted to confront the fake Arisen, but my pawn that was with me all of a sudden started, I guess, like having issues and alerted us that, hey, something's not right here. We need to leave.
Huh.
And we come and find out that the fake Arisen is using this item called the Godsend, I think it is.
Okay.
And the Godsend is an ancient artifact that allows you to control pawns, and this is how they have been able to continue the lie of them being Arisen.
I see.
Because that was my first thought was, wouldn't it be really apparent that he would tell a pawn to do something and the pawn would just ignore him?
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently with this item, he is able to force pawns to do whatever he wants, like an Arisen.
Gotcha.
And that is part of what your pawn started to feel, where they were like, hey, my body is not acting correctly.
Right.
Like, we need to leave. So once you find this out, you are now being sent to the other country across this checkpoint where this item originated from, and you're supposed to look into it. It's like, all right, cool. I get past the checkpoint, and it's like a barren desert. It looks really cool. Not like sand or anything, but it's definitely like rocks desert kind of thing.
Sure.
You got some trees here and there and, some small trees. But as we go walking through, we get attacked by like some goblins. I'm like, okay, whatever, let's take these guys out. Was not that simple, because as soon as we started attacking the goblins, the griffin showed up and started attacking the goblins.
Okay.
And then it turned on us.
Of course.
Now, luckily, the griffin was not a problem. It was like, all right, cool. I am finally at the level where I can fight a griffin with favorable circumstances.
Sure.
Maybe. Because it was still a tough fight.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, cool. And I am at a point where my vocation, I have maxed out my mage vocation, so it's now time for me to select a new one to start raising that one up, which the new one for mage is sorcerer. The one, my pawn is a warrior, or no, is a fighter. Theirs just maxed out, and they can upgrade to a warrior now.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, cool. We'll do that the next time we get to town. And after we take care of the griffin, we keep moving on, and I see it's like, oh, hey, there's like the lizard people here, but they look really different from the other place. That's interesting. And we go to fight them, and I am doing like very little damage to these guys.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh, this is not good. My ice thing is still doing the thing where it shoots them up in the air, and it like they hit the ground and they're kind of prone for a while. So it's like, all right, cool, that's still working. This is great. Until a golem comes around the corner. And I'm talking like a rock golem.
Right.
Like, that's got 4 pips for health. We are not fighting that. So we run away from the rock golem. And this is when I find out that the new land that I am in hates you and wants to kill specifically you for being there.
How good.
Because every time I turn a corner, there is a group of enemies ready to attack me. Dogs, goblins, these weird little armored things that I think are armored goblins, but I don't know because we kept running.
Right.
And there were harpies that we eventually had to take out. And it got to a point where it's like we ran really far away from where we met that rock golem, and that thing was still chasing me.
Oh my god.
So I was like, okay, I guess we're gonna have to kill this thing.
Right.
So we got far enough away from it to kill everything that was chasing me, And it's like, all right, when it comes around this corner, we're just gonna light this thing up. And we start attacking it, and we are doing like very little damage
Oh
to this
no.
monster. It I discovered that the ice attack that I had as a mage was doing a fair amount of damage, not as much as it should be. So it's like, all right. I think we spent like 10, 15 minutes fighting this thing.
Oh wow.
Of just like kiting it around this giant boulder and just hitting it and then running around and, finally got it down. Cool. I'm going to save, and I'm glad I did, because we turned the corner and there are 2 armored cyclopses that have metal grates over their heads. One of them had like, I don't even know what it was, but like metal armor up its arm.
Oh jeez.
And like, an obelisk as a weapon. I don't even know what that thing was. Like, and I see one and I'm like, okay. And then just behind it, I can see the head of another one bobbing as it's walking towards us as well. I'm like, no, come on. So, like, all right, we are not going this way. I go to run another way, and there's like a bunch of harpies and stuff here and some dogs. It's like, we kill all them, we pass them, and it is starting to get dark. And I'm like, I am not gonna be here at nighttime.
Nope.
Like, I'm already having enough time during the day to get through here. And what we are supposed to be doing, I find out later, we are supposed to be finding a bar, which is where I was the location marker that I was heading towards. I finally get there. Like, we are limping into this bar,
right?
Just barely making it. Cutscene happens, and it turns out, like, okay, this country hates pawns. They are tolerated in the country you came from, but here they are actively hated. They are not allowed in the capital. They will be killed on sight if seen.
Jeez.
Like, cool. So I barely made it to the bar, and we still have to make it to the capital. I don't know how this is going to work out.
Also, like, glad I'm here, I guess.
Yeah. Apparently, this is also where you started the game as a slave in the mines.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So there's a different. I was looking at the map, and there's like a cape, far to the east, if I'm remembering correctly, where the fog of war is lifted, and I think that's where the mine was where you start the game. So it's like, okay, that kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Sure.
But I have no clue how I'm going to get to the capital now. And this person that I met up with was like, hey, it may be a good idea to help people on your way to the capital, so that way they can see that, oh, I guess pawns aren't bad.
Gotcha.
Like, that is well and good. I need healing.
Right, like I need to survive.
Where can I go rest?
Right.
Because I don't have a campsite or anything. And that's where I'm at with this game right now.
Okay.
I did not get a whole lot of a chance to explore, because it was literally, I turn a corner and there's just a horde of things waiting to kill me.
Right.
No matter what direction I went in. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I got to this area early. I think my character is 26, and so is my pawn.
Okay.
I feel like we were doing fine in the starter country we were in.
Right.
And now that we've gotten into the next country, it's like, oh yeah, you probably should have been like level 30 coming in here, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But there wasn't like more to do. I mean, there was. I didn't cover, like, the whole map is still covered in fog of war. Like, I didn't explore everything. I also wasn't expecting this to be such a difficult, I guess, a cliffhanger or a cliff for difficulty. Like, I just assumed it would be roughly the same, just new enemies. I did also see a dragon that I ran away from very quickly. It did not see me.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at with this game.
Okay.
I need to figure out what I'm doing after this bar encounter and where I'm going next, because right now I see death everywhere I look outside the bar. But that's all I've been playing this week. What about you, Boston?
All right. My 2 games won't shock anyone, so I'm probably just going to fly through these here pretty quickly. Stardew Valley, to start off with. I did get one more trophy, so I only have 1 trophy left. I did the crafting trophy, made it all the way to the end of fall. It's the second to last day of fall that the Spirits Eve festival happened in. Made it all the way there, got the crafting recipe. I had this horrible worry going into it of like, oh my god, did I like misread the wiki and misread my inventory and whatever? Am I going to spend all this time getting to the Spirit Seed Festival and that's not the one I need? Thankfully, that was not the case.
Nice.
That it was the last crafting plan I needed, and all it needed was a pumpkin and a torch. I had both of those. I just needed the plan to smack them together. I did that, and I got the trophy. So the last trophy I need is I just need to earn a total of 10 million gold, like sort of like lifetime earned on my farm. This past week, I started at, I think it was like 5.2 million total, and then I ended this week at like 6.4. So I made
so about 1 million. So
yeah, I made a ton of cash. A lot of that is because I'm taking a lot of the raw stuff that I have, like fish and fruit and veggies and roe and all of that stuff, and I'm using all of the like machines and whatnot around the farm to turn those into artisan goods. I think I was talking about it last week, maybe, about taking all my fruit and putting it in the dehydrator and turning that into like fruit leather or any sort of like dehydrated stuff.
yeah.
That stuff, it doesn't sound like a lot, but how the math works on that, if the wiki's correct, and it usually is basically it takes 5 individual pieces of fruit and turns that into one dried artisan good. But it takes 7.5 times the raw sell value of the stack of fruit, plus like a little bit of extra gold on top. So I've been talking about it recently with hoppers. It's that thing where like you put a bunch of stuff in a hopper, you put it in front of a machine, and it is constantly adding materials or fruit or roe or whatever into the machine in front of it. All of that stuff is basically free at this point. I have like thousands and thousands of pieces of fruit that are just raw on my farm. So using these hoppers, I can basically just turn that into, and I could sell the fruit raw and I'd get a ton of money. Or I can just let these hoppers do their job and make 7.5 times that amount of money. And like it, because how the hoppers work, I'm just picking up the stuff that's coming out of it and selling that, as opposed to like, okay, this took X number of fruit. Now I need to fit Y number of fruit in that. I need to find it in my chest. I need to go, like, it takes all of the busy work out of it, and it's just, here's a chest full of hundreds and thousands of pieces of fruit. Just feed it in this machine. I'm going to take what comes out of it, and I'm going to sell it. I basically go down the line, taking all the artisan goods out of these things and selling them. So even if I'm having a day where I'm like not really getting a lot of like artisan goods from maybe my shack where I'm making wine and I'm making aged rowan stuff, I'm still making 20 to 30,000 gold just with the hoppers stuffing items into these artisan machines.
I'm sitting here thinking, it's like, oh, are you the guy who's making IPAs out of his
Yeah.
bathtub? And
Oh,
it's like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, this is Boston Farms, where we do things a little different.
That's right. So like it's really interesting to see. Like, I'm trying not to min-max the game, but I'm trying to find ways of, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, if you just take over all of your farm and grow this one crop, and then if you turn it into this, and then you age it, and you're like, I'm doing all that stuff, but I'm not worried about if I pick the exact right stuff. If I do like the most valuable stuff every single time, and like nothing else really matters in the game, that's not really super fun for me. So like I'm still looking to have fun while I'm doing
Yeah.
this. I don't want to be like spreadsheets and capitalism and burp, burp. It's like that's not really how I want this game to go.
That's exactly what's happening with me with X4. Like I know there's a billion ways that I can make this way more optimized.
Right.
I'm just having fun putting stuff places and seeing what happens.
Yeah, and like I'm having fun growing the crops I want to grow, and like my I am doing a little bit of the kind of like optimization stuff. Like in summer, I grew blueberries on my farm because those sell for the most. And now that I'm dehydrating them in my artisan machines, that sells for even more. In fall, I'm doing cranberries because those make just an incredible amount of money. And like all the ancient fruit that I'm growing, like most of my farm on Ginger Island is growing ancient fruit because using those and growing those into ancient fruit and then turning those into wine, that wine sells for the most.
Okay.
Like a stack sells for quite a bit when you just have like a normal stack of the stuff. When you age it in your cellar, it sells for like a ridiculous, like higher amount of money than the base one does. So like, I'm doing all of this stuff, but I don't have my cellar isn't completely full of casks to age this stuff. I'm not saving hundreds and hundreds of stacks of ancient fruit wine so that I can make sure that I absolutely age it. If all my casks are full and I made more wine, I'm just selling the wine. Like, I'm not worried about, like...
You're selling stacks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not worried about, like, absolutely super min-maxing this. So,
Yeah.
I have done a couple of things that I never do, though, which is I finally built all 4 obelisks on my farm. In the game, there's a bunch of things called warp totems, and they'll be like island warp totems. If you use one of those, it warps you to Ginger Island. Beach warp totem. Use one of those, it warps you to the beach. Those are items you can craft, but they're one-time use only. What the obelisks are is basically large versions of those that you put on your farm, and they cost a lot of money and a lot of materials to craft. But at that point, it's an unlimited use warp totem.
Okay.
So like you build an obelisk for the island, and you can always warp to the island. You just touch the obelisk that's on your farm, and it zaps you there. And I've never built those because one of them is like, it's 1,000,000 gold. It's like 10 dragon teeth, which are hard enough to get from Ginger Island. And like a bunch of stone and like, I think one more thing. I finally built all 4 of those, which has been really great. Of just, I can walk to the corner of my farm, I can interact with this, and I can teleport basically anywhere, which has been really great. But I am genuinely still having fun playing Stardew Valley, even after all this time. I will admit I'm pretty excited to move on to whatever's next. I had some people ask me on my live stream this week about, like, what's your next platinum gonna be? And I'm like, I'm sort of not worried about that yet, because I feel like I've been so deep in a long series that I kind of want to knock out a bunch of shorter games before I figure out my next thing. Like, I haven't even played the new Life is Strange game yet. I want to do that, before I kind of forget about it. I have a lot of these kind of shorter experiences, like Dosa Divas just came out. I haven't tried any of that yet. So, like, I sort of want to focus on some smaller stuff here in the short term. But I'll get back to it. Lord knows there's enough games like this where it's like, if I just get a couple more trophies, I'll have the platinum. So there's definitely plenty of games out there that I can do that with. My other game here, Marathon, of course, had just an incredibly rough week in Marathon this week. We did have one really solid run of Cryo Archive. Took Bill out to go run Cryo Archive this week. He'd never done it before. He's largely a solo player, and then we play together on Thursday nights. It's me and Bill Siford and the Hannah. So we took him. It was myself, Jinx, and Bill went through that. And Jinx and I, along with Feyrer, have run Cryo Archive a bunch of times. So it was kind of fun to see the encounters through new players' eyes again.
Mm-hmm.
We had an absolute dream run. Our first time, we ran into another team that did not want to fight us at all. So we kind of went our separate ways. We looted the place as much as we could, and we successfully exfilled at the end. We didn't get anything wild, but we just kind of had a solid run. And that was really the last of my success in in Cryo Archive this weekend. We had a pretty good run after that with Bill that we ran out of time. Kind of like the run didn't come together, and we couldn't find enough stuff to spawn in exfil. And then on that night we did a bunch of the kind of new player stuff with the Hannah, because he's starting Marathon. A lot of that stuff is really fun, not only to go back through, but also to help somebody, because we know the ins and outs of a lot of these quests. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so there's a mechanic in the game that they don't really explain to you super well. But basically, they'll give you a contract as a big list of things. But if you hover your cursor over one of the objectives in the contract, let's say one of the objectives will say, like, scan 3 bioprinters in North Relay. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, what am I supposed to do there? If you hover your cursor over the objective, it'll say, bioprinters can be found on the 2nd floor of the main large building in North Relay. And you're like,
Oh,
okay, that's much better, instead of like, just go find it, or like watch a YouTube video or whatever. But even then, some of those contracts can have little tricks about them of like, all right, well, both of us have done these contracts before. You can find this thing over here. Or like, oh, I remember that one. You're going to go interact with a terminal. It's going to turn the power off. The power button is way down here. It's kind of hard to find. Then you can go do like all these kind of little tips and tricks. And the good benefit of it is, in Marathon, the person who is doing the contract, let's say it's like a contract for Traxxas, which is one of the factions.
Mm.
Maybe it'll be like a 3-part contract. Each part will give them 150 XP for the faction or reputation, for a total of 450 rep. If we help that player complete that contract in our party, we get a third of that reputation, just by being in the party and helping them do it. So we still get 150 Traxxas rep apiece, which is a huge, huge help. And I think largely out in the community helps people. It sort of encourages people to try and help other runners with their contracts, which I think helps a lot. And then did a bunch of runs on Cryo Archive on Friday that all went pretty poorly, not because of us, but because like the other enemy runners on the map were just out for blood 100%. So that was fairly rough. We did a couple of other runs that were all kind of fine, but it really felt like anyone we were running into was out to skin us alive, which is going to happen in a PvP game. I'm not mad about it. It's just sort of like, that was kind of a rough day in the old Marathon salt mines. But
how far are you guys out from the season reset?
it's sometime in June. So we're about the
Okay, so you still
halfway
got a
point.
while. Okay.
I don't think we have a date yet. We know what's coming in season 2. Like, there's a new shell, so like a new like character class called Sentinel. I think that might be a code name.
Okay.
There's going to be a new map. It's a nighttime version of one of the maps, Dire Marsh. And there's going to be something they're calling the Cradle. It's a new system. The only thing they've really said is like, oh, it will help you uh, change the stats on your runner shells, I think is how they're explaining it. But there's hasn't been any really info beyond that. Um,
Okay.
but you raise an interesting question because I feel like I'm like level 60 something in the season right now, and I kind of feel like I'm ready to start decreasing the amount of time I'm playing Marathon for right now. And it's not because I'm not enjoying it still, but I
Mhm.
feel like Moon and I talk about this every once in a while, and we roguelike it, of you feel like you've kind of seen everything you want to see, or like you've gotten enough out of it, and if you keep playing it or you keep kind of hammering on it, are you going to keep having fun, or are you going to eventually get to the point where you kind of resent the game, or you're like, God, what am I doing here? I'm just kind of like beating my head against a wall. Um,
Yeah.
I I I really like Marathon, so I don't want to get to the point where I'm like beating my head up against a wall and being like, I can't progress. Like the matchmaking is punishing me or something like that. Like I don't want to get to that point. I would rather treat it like kind of like how you and I, Nimp, were treating Diablo 3 seasons. I'm gonna hop in. I'm gonna play pretty hardcore for, I don't know, like a week or two, a couple of weeks if the season's really great. Then I get to the point where I'm like, I have had my fill, and I just put it down,
Yep.
and kind of like leave that excitement for the next season. Especially because um, I I feel like there's no. I don't want to get too in the weeds, but I don't feel like there's an opportunity for me to complete all of the skill trees from the factions. And there's there's a whole bunch of tiers for loot. So it's kind of the standard stuff. It's gray, green, blue, purple, then gold, and then red above that. Red is your kind of what do they call it? Like counterfeit, something like that. It's basically at the tier you're not. There's only a handful of items in the game that have
Mhm.
that tier. Um, on the skill trees, I'm at the point where I need a bunch of salvage, and salvage in the game is just like gubbins you're picking up that aren't weapons or ammo or like mods or implants that you're equipping your character. They're just stuff you're bringing back to feed into the skill trees for each faction to level them up. Um,
Okay.
and then each skill you're buying in the skill tree is typically raising the floor of where you're starting runs. So instead of like, oh, I'm starting runs with uh, X number of agility or whatever. Now I start runs more agility, more heat resistance, more melee strength. I can revive myself and revive others faster. So it's like you don't do more damage with your bullets, but kind of everything around that feels a little bit better.
Okay.
I have gotten to the point where the majority of the things that I've purchased and upgraded have used all of the like gray, green, and blue salvage. And now I'm at the point where I need the purple and the gold ones. And purple is pretty hard to find, and gold has been non existent for not only me, but the majority of other players in the game. That's like the rarest of the rare. And my hope is with myself and a lot of the community not really complaining about the lack of high-end salvage, but feeling a little bit of frustration there of like, I need all this stuff for upgrading and I just don't see it. It's not like I it's not like I'm seeing it and I'm not exfilling with it or whatever. I'm just not finding it at all. So like that's pretty frustrating to like see all these upgrades and all this end game stuff. And I would be okay if it was like something in Destiny where it's like, yeah, you get the cool loot from the end game 6-man activities. That's cool. I can either do them and get a group or not and just not have that stuff. But going through this and just not seeing them at all feels pretty frustrating of like, I am doing the end game stuff with my team and it's not showing up whatsoever. So I'm hoping that in season 2, they like accelerate the XP you get for completing stuff in the game a little bit, so you can like level up your kind of season level pretty quickly, and then also have this salvage sort of situation. I don't want it to be raining endgame salvage. I just want to have the chance to get it at all whatsoever.
Yeah, it seems super weird that across the community, everyone's like, yeah, this doesn't really exist.
Yeah. And it's like one of the end game upgrades that people are kind of laughing about is whenever you ping stuff, so like you use a TAD, which kind of pings everything in an area, or one of the shells is called Recon. It can kind of ping in a larger area. That's their kind of prime ability, their ultimate ability. You can get an endgame upgrade to make those pings last longer, but they take 2 alien alloys, which are yellow salvage. I'm not even seeing the purple salvage that you need for the node before that on the skill tree. Nevertheless, the stuff after that. So it's kind of like, at this point, I'm kind of like, I'm having fun. I'll play it casually, but like all of this stuff on the back half of this season just feels unobtainable at this point.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm like, I kind of can't be mad about. I'm a little bit bummed, but I can't be mad about because it's like, I'm just not even seeing this stuff. It's not even like a question of skill of like, I picked up a bunch of stuff and I just can't exfil out of this map. It's hard. I'm just not even seeing it whatsoever. So I'm kind of hoping that Bungie's been really good about putting up patches and nerfing stuff and buffing stuff and making adjustments really quickly in this game overall. I'm hoping that when Season 2 rolls around, that some of these more systemic issues in the game, especially around the factions and leveling your character in the season, I hope that stuff gets resolved. Chances seem good because of how they've been responding, but we'll see, I think.
And the fact that they're just like testing random stuff in this game, which we haven't seen Bungie do with Destiny at all.
Right.
Before.
And what's really interesting is, I think we talked about that last week about the Dire Marsh sponsored kit, or sponsor kit. They're actually testing something additionally. They tested 2 new things in that queue this week. One was one of the community's biggest complaints about that map is they felt like there was one too many teams on there. So it's a lot of like, I just spawned in, I went to this POI, there are 2 other teams there literally within the first 30 seconds of the match. That does happen. I think I have had some thoughts about how players start a match. A lot of like, have taken out my knife and I'm just full on sprinting and bunny hopping to the POI. That's going to make a lot of noise. So I think some of that might be self-inflicted, but yeah, I think there was an issue with too many teams on that map. So they they decreased the number of teams on that map by 1 in that queue to see how that feels and gather some data. And then they're also testing in that queue of mic-based matchmaking, where if you have a microphone that you're using in-game, it's going to try to match you up with other players that are currently using a microphone as well, to see how that's going to work. Because a lot of people's complaints
Could
were...
be good or bad.
Well, a lot of people's complaints, and my complaint too has been, I get into a... this is why I don't crew fill anymore. I would get into a match, I'd be like, hey everyone, how's it going? Complete crickets. The 2 other teammates run off to God knows where, immediately get killed, and then their mic magically starts working to come on the mic to tell me how terrible I am and call me a bunch of slurs. And it's like, okay, cool. That's not really what I want or what anybody wants. So I'm curious to see how this kind of mic-based matchmaking might work in a live environment. So, but you're right. It's cool to see them kind of like twisting the knobs and turning the dials and everything and playing around with stuff on the live server. You know, we see this. You see this in some live service games or MMOs where they have a PTS, a player test server. But thankfully, this is just, okay, here's the queue where we're kind of playing around with stuff. And I think that's super cool. But yeah, marathons.
I wonder if they will eventually kind of move to that system of having a PTS where it's like, hey, it's free for anyone to try. This is just like gimmicks and stuff that we're testing out that may potentially break the game. So.
Yeah, my hope, instead of them doing that, my hope in the short term, as the player numbers continue to decline, is that I hope they start doing some more free weekends. Because I think Marathon really shines, and I think Nimp, you were seeing that a little bit when we were playing it in the server slam of like, if I can just get into the game and play a couple of hours, like play that myself, I think that's when the game really shines, especially playing with other players that you know of like, it's not going to click after a run or two, but it's going to click after 2 or 3 or 4 hours that you're playing with it. And like it finally, and most people kind of agree, all right, once you're able to get into it and actually do a couple of runs, unlock a couple of factions, complete a bunch of contracts, that's when the game really starts to shine. And I hope they start doing more free weekends of like, cool, I've been playing this game for 100 hours at this point. I'm going to bring my friends along in-game and show them what to do and kind of walk them through the beginning of the game. I think that could help quite a bit.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Add a little Sherpa system.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm still really enjoying Marathon. I just feel like I'm at the point where I can continue to play and have fun, but I don't know if continuing to play at the level that I'm playing with is really going to get me too much season-wise, other than like having fun. I'm still having fun doing runs, but I think a lot of what I'm going to be doing is like I have an hour or so. Like I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna knock out a bunch of runs and kind of have a fun time just playing Marathon without a larger kind of long-term goal that we're focusing on. All right, that's all I'm playing this week. Let's talk about our releases here for the week of April 26, 2026. Aphelion comes out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This is Don't Nod's new game. You might have seen the trailers. I feel like Microsoft has been pushing this a little bit on their showcases. It's the one where it's the kind of adventure game where you're wearing that big orange spacesuit and you're going through this frozen kind of craggy world. I still feel like I don't understand what it really is, but I feel like that's maybe the best part of a lot of Don't Nod games, of just like, I don't know, man, I like their stuff. Let's go check out whatever this space adventure climbing thing is. So I'm very curious to see what reviews are going to be like for this one, because I haven't heard too much more other than, hey, Don't Nod has a new game out. So we'll see.
Yep.
That's Aphelion. Coming up next is Diablo 4 Lord of Hatred, coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. This is the second expansion for Diablo 4. The big new things that seem to be coming along with this are the Paladin and the Warlock. They're going to have 2 new classes along with this.
Okay.
And a bunch of new story stuff. It seems like they've kind of redone and expanded a bunch of skill trees and stuff like that. I haven't been keeping a super close eye on Diablo 4 after playing the kind of launch version. I know it's significantly different from some of the back-end systems in this game now. But I'm not going to be the guy that you're going to come to for like, here's all the nitty-gritty on what's different here in Diablo 4. Have you?
Might eventually check this back out. I haven't played it since it released, and I beat it.
Yeah, sit down.
And my biggest real complaint was that you always felt like you were on the back foot.
Yeah.
Fighting everything.
Yeah. Right.
No amount of leveling seemed to help anything. No amount of skill seemed to really help anything. Which felt really off from, the first 3 Diablo games where it's like, yeah, you can turn up the difficulty and you're fighting things that have millions of hit points, but eventually you get to the point where you start doing millions of damage and you're not necessarily unstoppable, but you're on an even playing field. Where with Diablo 4, it never felt like you were on an even playing field. It always felt like you were just trying to catch up, and then things get harder, and then you're catching up again.
And I feel like part of our experience, too, in the launch version of Diablo 4 was a lot of people saying, like, yeah, Diablo 4 is great, the story's great, blah, blah, blah. Push until you can start the season. Because like season 1 launched with the game as opposed to launching like a couple of weeks afterwards. And I think for me, that kind of poisoned the well a little bit of like, no, I'm here to like do the single player, the co-op campaign. Like I'm here to do the 4 acts of the story and explore the world and stuff. And it always felt like there was a bunch of people pushing me in the back being like, no, go. Like that's not even the good stuff. Get to the season. So that was a little bit frustrating.
What made the seasons great was the fact that it's like, okay, I already went through the act.
Yeah.
I have a beefed up character. The season was supposed to be like, all right, now I want to test out the other classes.
Right.
But I don't want to necessarily replay the story. And, oh, look, this season happens to have a different kind of positive or negative effect depending on what's happening to make it a little interesting. Where, yeah, I think they kind of missed what made the seasons fun.
Yeah, from Diablo 3 seasons were really great. And yeah. So
but, I don't know.
I feel the same way. Like I haven't felt the pull to go back to Diablo 3 or 4, but if I feel the pull to kind of play an action RPG again, I'll probably check out Diablo 4, especially because I played it at launch, and it sounds like it's a stark contrast from where that game was before.
Yeah.
Next game here is Inconbini. One store, many stories. Comes out on PS5, Series consoles, Switch to PC, and Mac OS. It's a very cool looking. I've been watching this for a while. It's a very cool looking kind of convenience store, slice of life, narrative driven game where you're kind of running a convenience store, like stocking the shelves. It feels a little bit like some of those quote unquote simulator games where it's like, oh, it's the convenience store simulator, gas store simulator. But you're really interacting with a lot of the people in the town and kind of integrating yourself into their lives and kind of helping them out and seeing their stories grow over time. So I think this game looks really cool. I like these kind of cozy slice of life games, and I think this looks like a really cool one. So it's Inconbini coming out this week. The polar opposite game, Invincible Versus, comes out this week. PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This is a 3v3 tag team fighting game. It's set in the Invincible universe, comics, story. I don't even know.
Have you done anything with the Invincible?
I have not. No.
Series? My understanding is it's basically The Boys but animated, like same concept and
Oh,
everything.
sure. Okay.
That's how it's been explained to me. I
Sure.
don't know if that's accurate or
Yeah,
not,
no one
but
yell at us if they're like, well, actually, it's
yeah,
like, I
because
don't
from the
know.
things that I have seen, it's like, okay, yeah, that seems pretty accurate.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was kind of surprised that they went with just a 2D fighting game to start with, because I was almost expecting them to do something different here at the beginning, but people seem real excited about it. It's a little bit hard to tell if it's because people love Invincible, or if it's because it's a really great fighting game, or both. It's kind of a little bit hard to tell from the outside, because the fervor around Invincible is pretty big.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that people are pumped for it either way. In the last trailer they put out here was like a story focused trailer, so I'm hoping that there's some additional story stuff in here that's not just 3v3 stuff. So, we'll see. Keep an eye on that one. Next up, a big game I've been waiting for. Saros comes out on PS5. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't even really know. This is the new Housemarque game. This is the semi sequel to Returnal. Like it's a similar game, but I don't know from a story perspective if it continues on from where the end of that game left off. I have no idea. I've been trying to keep myself pretty in the dark about this game, because I know that I want to play it pretty badly with how much I loved Returnal. And I don't. The only trailer I've really seen of this is the announcement trailer, and then the one we're watching here on stream. So I'm pretty excited to check this out. I am ready to get my teeth kicked in again, like Returnal did. I'm sort of expecting. Reviews have been pretty great about this, and I bought the Deluxe Suckers Edition so I can start this on Tuesday instead of Friday. So they got me in completely.
Without giving spoilers, does Returnal leave an opening for either that character coming back or a continuation of the story? Because I know there's like a lot of weird multi-universe, possibly timeline weirdness.
Yeah, without spoiling it, I feel like her story was fairly complete. I could see where they could potentially have some like additional, oh well, this was happening over here, but I'd be pretty surprised. I feel like her story was fairly complete there, so I would, I guess the way to answer it is, I don't think I'd be bummed if they did continue the story, but I would be a lot more excited if they were just like, yeah, cool, it plays the same, here's a brand new story. I think I'd feel better about that.
I was just wondering if, like, oh, you might get a cameo because this just happened to be that timeline or multiverse that,
right? Yeah, I could see them. Yeah, I could see them doing that, of like winks and nods to the previous one. But oh no, I'll be playing it this week, so tune in next week for some details on that. Next up, Strange Antiquities. Comes out on PS4, PS5, and Series consoles. This came out on PC last year. It's a sequel to that game Strange Horticulture. This one where you're you're running a kind of in that one you were running like a horticulture store, and a lot of it was like, oh, and you're also doing magic and you're solving problems around town and stuff like that. This one is you're dealing with antiques, and it seems like, not a negative, but it seems like you're kind of largely doing a very similar thing as the last one, where you're helping people find antiques, selling stuff, running your store, doing side quests and that sort of thing. So I think this looks really cool. I like that there are more of these running a store games where it's not even so much of like nothing's what it seems, but it's kind of like you have an interesting story that's going to unfold as you help more people and as you level up your shop. I think those kind of games are pretty cool. So
And I'm a sucker for running a storefront.
yeah, ditto. Exactly. So that's Strange Antiquities. Next up here we have Constance. Comes out on PS5, Series consoles, and PC. This came out on PC last year. This is a hand-painted, like heavily movement-based 2D Metroidvania that looks incredible. I'm not entirely sure how I missed this coming out last year. This seems incredibly my jam, and this looks pretty cool. So I feel like I might not be in the mood quite yet for a Metroidvania. I feel like I'm still kind of licking my wounds after Silksong, but I think Constance looks really, really, really cool.
Without the painting stuff, it reminds me a lot of Guacamelee.
Yeah, it has that kind of like same fluid movement
Yeah.
and art style. Yeah, that's a really good point. That's Constance coming out on consoles this week. And last but not least, we do have The Last Gas Station coming out on PC. This is another one I've been keeping an eye on for a while. This is basically another one of those where you're running your own store, but you're kind of running a gas station out in the middle of nowhere. And I kind of can't tell if there's anything that's going to be weird about this gas station. You know, is there going to be any kind of like supernatural or weird stuff that's going to happen? But it seems like it's kind of ripe for having ghosts or something, you know, SCP like happening in this. So I think it has go ahead.
I was gonna say, trying to think of the game where your car is a remnant. It's the roguelike where you're driving it around.
Pacific Drive.
Yes, thank you. That wagon that was at the gas station.
Yep.
Was the wagon from Pacific
Yeah,
Drive.
and like I think part of the reason why I'm excited is it seems like it has that same kind of vibe of this is out in the middle of nowhere and there's like nothing inherently wrong about it, but you could see things going off the rails or being a little bit
Just a
odd.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like, why isn't the last gas station?
right. The last gas station before where? You know, like
Yeah.
and I think the art style looks really cool. This kind of like very this attention to detail, kind of high pixelated sort of thing that I really like. All right, that's all of our releases for this week, and that's the end of our episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to do so, if you'd like to follow us, you can do so over at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Don't forget to join our Discord server, discord.tvgp.tv. We do have the best community on the internet, still very food-focused and food-motivated, so, you know, bring some of your favorite foods there with us. It's like a potluck you got to share. If you'd like to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/E1M1 or E1M1.cash.
The ones are numbers.
If you can't support us over there, you know, totally understand, especially if we're talking about on the Outcast how much hard drives cost right now. Some of the best ways to support us: like, comment, subscribe over on the YouTube channel, follow us on the Twitch channel that we can watch us live, or rate us positively on your podcatcher of choice. That really, really does help. That helps more people find the show that aren't yet listeners. It's a lot of those like, oh, you like this show, you might also like TVGP. And we get higher in those recommendations, the better ratings we have. So that's a big way to help this show or any show that you listen to and you really like. I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Nimp, what are your titles?
I have All I See Is Death Outside. Boston Farms. We do things a little different. Out Here Selling Stacks. And that was the last of my success.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, kind of my favorite funny one, pull out my knife and bunny hop.
Pull out my knife and bunny hop. All right, I have 207 hours. The universe has been changed. Turrets for days. Limping into this bar, and then pull out my knife and bunny hop. I think my personal favorite is the universe has been changed. I like how almost ominous that message sounded in game, of just like, oh, that's a lofty message for you to dump on here.
I had to Google that to figure out what that even meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fine with that one.
Okay.
Universe has changed.
The universe has been changed. That's a good one. Also, someone in chat mentioned Overwatch. I had no idea. I don't even know when this happened. Apparently, they just dropped the 2 from Overwatch 2, and now that's just Overwatch.
Yeah, I heard it happened a month or two ago, I feel like.
Okay.
Because I heard people talking about it.
Mm.
I don't know why. Whatever.
I just someone, because I had heard it because someone mentioned like, oh, they do that in Overwatch 2 as well. I haven't played it in a while though, and someone was like, oh, it's actually just Overwatch now, and I was like, well, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, we're using its maiden name.
That's right.
I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 966 for April 27th, 2026. The universe has been changed.
I don't know what direction it has changed in.
All right. Thank you so much, as always, everyone, for listening and watching. We do greatly